whispers in the dark, a happy home, motion alarms going off by themselves. What's going on in this house? Grab a snack and help us unpack all that and more. It's time for Ghost Files Debrief.
This is the show where we answer your burning questions. And I think we do more. No, that's about what we do.
No, that's what we do. We're here to answer your burning questions.
Yeah, and this is my, yes.
And you cut me off. You cut me off.
What?
Thank you for joining us. I'm Ryan, and that thing over there is my colleague, Shane. Shane.
Oh, I'm supposed to say that. I'm supposed to say thing. When was I supposed to say thing?
You're supposed to say it after.
I'm rusty. I wasn't here last week.
That's right. You weren't
Hello,
here last week.
YouTube.
Happy 50th.
That's what I always say when happy 50th? Oh, yes, my big birthday.
70 years old.
That's right, 70, but the big 7-0.
I know.
My kids are looking to move me into a place.
That's crazy.
So I'm looking forward to that.
How do you even find a cake that can fit all those candles?
How'd the debrief go last week, Ryan?
It went swimmingly.
Yeah.
We answered a lot of questions, more questions than we typically answer when it's you and I.
Well, because we do our usual bullshit.
I know, like what you just saw.
Yeah.
Essentially is what we're doing.
That's right.
But we're here to talk about the Clayton house. It's an old haunted mansion full of possibly Civil War ghosts. We got some really good EVPs here, and the motion alarms were going bananas.
They were going cuckoo, baby. This was in Arkansas?
That's right.
Okay, I'm remembering it.
Okay.
Beautiful house.
Beautiful house.
Gorgeous kitchen.
A happy house, even.
Really nice kitchen.
Really nice kitchen.
Well stocked.
A lot of stuff
coffee
going on
for
here.
us.
It was a good, no, you're thinking of the King Opera House.
I'm not.
Oh, no, you're right. Yeah, that's right. There was that kitchen there.
I know what I'm thinking of.
That's actually that's a little preview of season 5. Anyways, a little housekeeping before we get into the questions here. If you want to watch these debriefs recorded live, because we do a live version of this show.
And those have been a lot of fun.
Those have been a lot of fun. We do those over on watchertv.com. And also, if you go there, you get to see Ghost Files eps a month early. In fact, by this time, I believe you'll be able to see the whole season.
Whole dang season.
The whole season right now, if you'd like to. You can sign up for a free trial. Go watch it.
In fact, the last live debrief is today at 3 p.m.
That's correct. Pacific time. So hop on that now if you'd like to. Let's get into some questions.
That would be very fun.
The Clayton
I
house.
love questions.
And I love answers.
Our first question comes from Kaladin Vegapunk. Haha, love you, buddy.
Oh, this is referring to me because I said...
Are you sure it's to me? It says you're a legend. Are you sure that's you?
Because I said post your questions for debrief under here because I'm recording next week and it was signed Ryan. So that's the response directly to my comment that was pinned.
Well, then do you want... Well, no, I'll read this to you and I want you to act like you're hearing it from Kaladin Vegapunk.
Yeah.
Okay. Haha, love you, buddy.
Oh, thanks.
You're a legend.
I don't know.
But you are kind of a chicken shit. I'm sorry. You get terrified of empty buildings like Shaggy from Scooby-Doo, you piece of shit.
That's not in the question.
Oh yeah, I guess I had a little color there. Even though it's always just a guy in a mask.
This isn't even a question. This is...
No, they guys are just saying, just sort of getting something off their chest.
It's building me up to tear me down. I appreciate that. I agree with everything except for the legend part, but I am a chicken shit.
You're a legend. Absolute ledge.
A ledge.
Yeah.
As they say over the pond. Look, I do get scared sometimes still. Sometimes I don't. I actually saw a lot of people in the comments say that I'm rather brave now.
Look at you. Rather brave.
Shall we go to another question?
Are you gonna get scared? Are you gonna get scared a little later this year when we do another
Alone? Well, you're gonna be there with me, so it'll be a little bit
better. Yeah, but that only goes so far.
That's
I'm gonna strand you there. I might leave you there. We haven't figured it out. I don't enjoy when you wear a tank top for these things.
You know what's
just
funny?
Flashed your pit hair to everybody, and it was stop. Come on, man.
You know what's funny is you're wearing like almost the exact opposite.
I'm wearing as many clothes as I can possibly wear,
and I have shorts and a tank top on. It's very confused. I mean, that's just a visual representation of us, huh?
Jock and dork.
Yeah. Well, I was gonna say just we're like diametrically opposed on ghosts.
I guess so. Yeah.
But if you, no, I don't think of you as a dork.
That's very sweet of you. I think of you as a legend and a chicken shit.
Thank you.
Let's go to our next question. Thank you, Kaladin.
This comes from @Laraxis Art. As a hardcore skeptic who is pretty firmly on Shane's side of things, Shane's side of thing, I like to listen to potential voice recordings with my eyes closed to prevent the power of suggestion as much as possible.
No, that's interesting. That's pretty fucking interesting.
And yet,
oh,
That Happy House recording is hands down the clearest thing I've ever heard on this show. That creeped me the fuck out. And actually, before we get into that, why don't we go to a clip of that actual recording?
Yes, Happy House. Is that what's
Shortly after leaving the dining room and preparing to enter the study, our static cam picked up this disembodied voice. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. Now, I will say, we don't have a camera on Matt, who's behind the camera right now, but he did this.
Yeah, he did do that.
I think that one, without even having subtitles, is incredibly clear. It's one of those EVPs, a Class A EVP, if you will, where it either is or it isn't. I don't know what the explanation for this one could possibly be.
I think maybe someone just said it and we heard it. Or someone said something that we heard, or we're misinterpreting audio that is something else that we think is that.
I mean, it wasn't any of our mics. It was next to the static cam.
We don't quite know. We don't quite know. I will say to Laraxis Art, if you're creeped out by this, you're off the team.
Okay.
You're right.
I think it's a pretty strong
You're
EVP.
done.
I don't know.
Turn in your gun and your badge.
That's right.
But mostly the gun. Now you keep the gun.
All Shaniacs are armed, I guess.
We are. And dangerous.
I wouldn't say dangerous. To themselves, perhaps.
We're very dangerous.
To themselves.
Yeah.
No, but this is, a Happy House is also just an interesting kind of, because I know we're going to go back and forth here on what the voice is. I think it's a ghost, because
I think it's anything else.
Nobody in that room, so.
People don't like when I say I think it's anything else. Some people.
I don't know what else it could be. There's nobody in that room.
It could be a million things.
Here's the thing. We're not going to get into that. We're not going to fall into that wormhole. But
come on.
But I do think it's fun that Happy House is said, because this was once used as a Civil War hospital, but it was also occupied by the Claytons. So, I would like to think that I have a happy house with me and my wife, but we're not often whispering to each other happy house.
Maybe you should. It sounds like you might need to.
I don't think so.
Sort of reinforce it.
But there is actually one more question about this happy house moment. If we could actually just go to the next question. I'm going to read this.
I'll take it. This is from Olivia Wolcott, 8351. It may have been artifacting from the night vision camera, but the study door might have moved a smidge when that voice was captured. That's interesting.
If we could actually just look at that clip one more time. Look at the door. That's right there. Shortly after leaving the dining room and preparing to enter the study, I was watching it kind of closely. It does look like it wiggles a tad, but I actually would put that more towards video artifacting.
You'd have to really punch in on it, boost the brightness and contrast, figure it out.
I mean, I looked at it pretty close. I'm pretty sure it's artifacting. I just wanted to kind of just close the book on that.
And did you do that in After Effects?
No, I did this to give you a little treat, because I knew you weren't going to really have anything for the happy house moment. So
I got nothing.
I thought if we could debunk the door moving.
I didn't really see it move.
Well, there you go.
I've done it.
You've done it.
No, maybe it does. It does happen right after someone walks past it. So maybe
it looks more like artifacting to me, because these static cams, sometimes they aren't the greatest quality in terms of image, especially at night, and it's something far away. The IR only goes so far.
But good eyes, Olivia.
Good eye.
Maybe a bad eye, but good that you're keeping an eye out for these things.
Good eye, Olivia.
Good eye.
Good eye. Okay. At hell ain't so infinitesimal 2133. That's a funny name. In all the places you visit, how many ghost encounters from docents are experienced at night? I know being there when it's dark adds to spooky vibes, but wouldn't it make more sense for ghosts to be active at the same time they would have been when they were alive? This is a good point, and this is actually something that I tested on my own when I did Ghost Files alone. If you haven't seen that, hell ain't so infinitesimal. You might want to check that out. 2133, correct. I could have been talking to hell ain't so infinitesimal 2132.
You never know.
I did this test because the docent or the historian or the owner of Malvern Manor, which is where I did my 24-hour investigation completely alone, he had mentioned that most of the activity actually occurs during the morning. In fact, some of the scariest things that have ever happened to him have occurred in the morning. So I was very excited to investigate that place during the day, and I actually found that it was quite active during the day. So, I think a lot of times people record things at night because undoubtedly it's spookier looking and
The eyes play tricks on you.
the eyes play tricks on you, but that's not to say that there's not plenty of activity during the daytime, which I was able to confirm myself.
And I would say that a lot of the docents we do talk to are people who are either ghost hunting there with regularity or around these places. A lot of them do say there are daytime things that happen.
No, for sure. Your just mind isn't as primed to be looking for it during the daytime.
Right. But we wouldn't ever do I mean, I guess Ghost Files alone has us there in the daytime.
Well, in season 5 of Ghost Files that's coming up, we are going to be doing a 3-parter in which Shane and I are going to spend 24 hours, just Shane and I, in a place. And a little tease for you guys there. And so we'll be able to put this daytime thing to rest then, perhaps.
I'm excited.
What if you see a ghost in plain daylight?
That would be baller.
What if the ghost looked like me?
Then I would assume it was just you? Are
No,
you
but-
gonna?
but what if I was
you're
like-
laying the track here for being like, I can just put some flour on my face.
No, I was saying
I'm a
like, what if I was
ghost.
like, hey Shane, we should go do this other room, and then I turn around and then I just disappear, and you're like, what the fuck? And then you go into
Are you
another,
dead?
and you go into that.
Are you
room,
dead?
And you go into the room I was talking about, and I've like had a heart attack or something, and I've died.
I mean, it's good for
It's good
good
tube
for views.
That's good tube.
That's good tubing. Okay, our next one is from Peyton Sanger.
Yeah.
Who do you think they were referring to when they said kill someone?
Or it's tell everybody or kill everybody or tell somebody. I can't remember the exact verbiage, but it's either kill someone or tell someone or tell everyone. Mm-hmm. I'd like to think it's tell.
Tell them about ghosts.
Tell
them we are real.
I mean, we were also in a room asking questions, but if it is kill everyone, I would imagine, I mean, if this is a Civil War hospital and
Kill them all.
majority of people are, I mean, I guess soldiers on either side.
Well,
you
they
know.
want you to kill all the other ones.
Yeah, I mean, and if they see 2 people walking around that aren't in the uniform, they're probably wondering,
Kill them.
who are these 2 goofy looking guys?
We better kill them.
We should kill both of these guys. Except they are wearing a helmet. So I guess this is gonna be a little bit
Well,
harder.
we only have one helmet though.
That is true. 1 cranium exposed. I don't know. I think they just, you know, when someone's saying kill everybody, I don't think there's a lot of interpretation needed. Now that I think about it, it's just, what do you mean by that?
Yeah.
I think I have
Which room did that happen in?
I think this came up on a static. So I
on a
believe
static?
that was in the study. I'd have to look at the static again. But I mean, in terms of just the footprint of the house, I would imagine it's from that Civil War era because it doesn't sound like something the Claytons would say.
This is a beautiful house.
It was a beautiful house.
Yeah.
Going to @Dopio Vinegar, 1292, a lot of numbers. Hello, Ghoul Boys. Hope this reached the debrief. Any plans on having the walkie-talkie back? Those were fun. #Shaniacs.
I realize how funny it is that a Shaniac is sending a question about like, can you do walkie-talkies again? Those were fun. Bye.
I don't know if we're gonna do the walkie-talkies again. There's a variety of reasons. One, walkie-talkie interference does mess with some of our EMF tools.
I saw people, and I wanted to clarify because we were was it on a debrief? We were talking about how the walkie-talkies interfere with the REM pod.
That's right.
We learned that when we were at Hobo Hill House
Yeah.
in Jeff City,
In Jeff City.
Missouri. And we realized that when you have the walkie-talkie and you use it, it activates the REM pod.
It does.
The proximity of the walkie-talkie being anywhere near the REM pod doesn't just automatically.
No,
Trigger.
it's only when you actually use it.
Yeah, and we learned that, we tested it. So I saw people being like, they knew that about the walkie-talkies, but they're still walking around using them in the REM pod, and we're
Well,
like,
that's a good clarification.
yeah, that's why I wanted to clarify because we realized that was an issue, and then obviously.
And from my testing, it was about like 20 yards was the influence when you could do that. So like, for all the hucksters out there, they could be doing that. They could be like,
Yeah, if they're like
controlling it.
Yeah, they sure could.
but we stopped using walkies. I mean, we were never using the walkies while we were doing REM pod sessions, except for that one time at Hobo Hill House because we put a REM pod in the closet where we were getting activity before.
on the stairwell.
And so when you were talking to me on the walkie-talkie, it was making the REM pod go off because you were sitting right outside. So That's one reason. And then another reason is, frankly, it just makes me feel a little less scared.
Yeah.
Like when I'm alone.
We had
in
our fun with them.
Yeah, and then when I'm alone in my solos, Shane, this is gonna sound goofy, but Shane's voice is somewhat of a comfort because one, he's familiar, and two, I know that if something happens to me, I could be like, I'm bleeding out.
Help me.
Help me, exactly. It's a good impression of me.
Yeah.
It's a little too deep for my voice, but yeah, I
Digging it further, yeah.
yeah,
Oh, help me.
there you go. Yeah, it does make me feel more comforted, so that's why. Moving on.
This is from Donna Tozer, 9099.
What is these numbers? Is YouTube populating these, or is this just...
YouTube might be making them.
This is awesome.
For the debrief, Shane, after hearing the taps, knocks, boo buddy going off all the time, and EVPs, happy house was so clear, etc., do you concede that there just might be life after death? Also sending heartfelt thoughts for OB, wherever he may be. Great episode, guys. Keep up the good work. Love from New Zealand. Yes, I realized I did talk about OB in this episode.
Yes.
Right? Was it in this episode?
It was this episode.
OB is still doing great.
Still kicking.
I've mentioned this on our podcast, Get Scared. If you haven't listened, Get Scared's a lot of fun. We go over a lot of ghost-related things, but also spooky stuff in general. But Obi last summer was diagnosed with a cancer, but it's a cancer that a lot of older cats tend to get, and he's only like 6 or 7.
Yeah.
So we think maybe, they were like, oh, he's probably only got a few months. But I think generally, statistically, they're probably compiling data from older cats. He's younger. He seems like he's, hanging in there.
What if he's the cure?
What if he's the cure?
Anyways, do you concede that ghosts are real and that there's life after death?
No, I don't.
Do you think there's life after death?
No, I don't.
And that includes afterlife in terms of, like, not on Earth?
No, I don't.
There you go.
Yeah.
Just clarifying. Do you think there's a hell?
Yes.
There's only a hell?
And it's where we all go.
Or I would say, then would heaven be just like you get to not exist anymore, and hell...
Heaven is not... Heaven, to me, yes, bliss is not existing, and we all go to hell. Those are the two things.
So it's either it's everlasting darkness, or you get to continue living your little bullshit.
That's right, yeah.
Down with the old... the Sizzler down there.
The Sizzler.
That's what I call Satan.
That's right.
I don't want to talk to the Sizzler right now. Blake Bolton 95 says, I think y'all 1000% got Apple Tater when Ryan asked for a name at 4756. Apple Tater strikes again.
I saw a number of comments about this and I did not hear it. So I'm curious to see what it sounds like. Let me toss these on so I can get a good listen.
What's your name? Can you move away from the REM pod? Thank you. What's your name?
It does.
You know what it kind of does?
Wait, it really does kind of sound like Apple Tater. That's actually incredible.
That makes me wonder if there's some kind of phrase that is often spoken on the radio that when you're scanning,
Sound like Apple Tater?
kind of sounds like it, and I can't really.
Or there is a phantom
Who is following us and is now our groupie?
and goes by the name Apple Tater.
Yeah.
This will be the 3rd time we have heard a Apple Tater. The first time, obviously, being at was it Bel Air House? It was Bel Air House. The second time being at Pythian Castle, and now the 3rd time at the Clayton House. All 3 locations that are not anywhere near each other.
No.
Because Pythian was in Missouri. This was in Arkansas.
Bel Air House
And
was
Bel Air
Ohio.
was in Ohio.
Yeah.
Apple
So Apple Tater's hitting the road.
a frequent flyer.
Yeah. Love it.
Love that. Well, thank you, Apple
Pretty
Tater.
good.
Thank you for bringing this to our attention, too. At Paranormal Ween. Yeah.
Paranormal Ween?
Paranormal Ween. I think it's Paranormal Ween.
I think it is.
What is this at...
What is this?
Wait.
What's this?
What is this at 2832? It sounds like a girl saying Mr. Clayton or something similar. I guess this is the Agnes room. Agnes, if you're...
No. This is Boo Buddy.
Yeah, that's Boo Buddy.
Yeah.
He sometimes interrupts us, and
It's Boo Buddy. Paranormal Ween, that's Boo Buddy.
at the end of this series, whenever it happens,
He's a little bear.
we're gonna cut that bear's head off. Anyways, this question
All right.
is this is the
our
last question. You want to take this one,
Yeah,
Shane?
sure. This is from That Handle Was Already Taken. Have you ever had a, quote, sexy experience with any ghosts? I think they're referring to sort of that scene from Ghostbusters where Dan Aykroyd, the ghost is floating above his bed, and then she go down and he go, remember that?
I do remember that. Or they could be referring to when we were plucking our belly buttons in several different locations.
Ryan, have you ever had sex with a ghost?
No.
Okay.
Not yet.
Has a ghost ever had sex with you?
No, not for lack of trying though. I'm married.
Okay. Is that it? Is that the answer?
I deny all advances. No, I've never had a sexual experience with a ghost. To be fair though,
Yeah.
we've never asked at a location,
For what?
do I make you horny? Do I?
Do I make you randy?
Do I make you randy? We should try that out.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe we should. But no, I got nothing.
I mean, we cover a kind of a gamut. You're like, what, like a tall drink of water,
Would you?
tall drink of water, white guy.
I'm putting.
And I'm a little spicy little Asian
You're a
Mexican.
spicy little nugget.
Spicy little Asian Mexican McNugget. Maybe maybe they might want
Spicy little
Asian Mexican McNugget.
Asian Mexican McNugget.
They might want to dip me in some sweet and sour sauce, baby. I should ask that. You want to dip me in some sweet and sour sauce?
Okay, I'm just curious. Let's say you're unattached. Obviously, we both have partners and we love them.
Yes.
This is a hypothetical for you.
Yeah.
You're a ghost hunter, you're single, you're untethered.
Okay.
A sexy ghost. You're spending the night at the Villisca Axe Murder House. Somewhere less, maybe.
What about the Stanley Hotel?
How about that place? Yeah.
Yeah, maybe not the Villisca Axe Murder House. If we're only able to have said intercourse with people who are in the house, not a lot. That's a roster of one.
Parents. Yeah.
That's the mom.
Okay, you're at the Stanley Hotel.
Okay.
And a sexy ghost is like, "Hey, fella,
Okay.
let's bone down,
Yeah.
brother." Are you taking the offer?
So she's coming up to me. She's like, "You want to make some contact?"
Yeah.
I mean, after I get over the initial shock that I'm seeing a ghost in front of me,
Yeah.
that's such a weird
Is it a
pivot in
yes
my
or
brain.
no? Is it a
Well, I was
yes or
thinking,
no?
okay, so I'm like, oh my God, it's a ghost. Kind of a babe.
Mm-hmm.
And then she's like, let's go back to my hotel room. I haunt 412.
Yeah.
And I'll be like, I'm in 413,
Yeah. Connecting doors, maybe?
connecting doors.
So you're saying tentatively yes.
I think it might be a yes.
That was a trick question, and you walked right into it because what happens, you even picked the Stanley. What happens
If she turns
In
into
The Shining.
she turns into a goo lady.
She turned into a garbage goo lady. She's covered in snot.
I still think I would say yes.
She's all scabby and
And
gross.
I want to clarify, I'm saying yes not out of horniness. I'm saying yes because as a paranormal scientifically, I would have to see what would happen.
He'd be like, oh. Taking little notes in your notebook. 10 out of 10.
Yeah, I would have to see for science, and I'm being serious, actually. I am being serious. I would have to see for science if that would be possible to make contact physically with a ghost.
Do you think touching a ghost would be almost like when you like bump your funny bone? You know, he's just like,
Oh, like an electricity?
yeah.
Maybe.
That's an interesting thing to think about. And
Well,
what that would feel like.
We could leave you all with that,
Yeah.
right?
Ryan would fuck a ghost.
Well,
That's what he's telling
For
you.
science. You have to add for science.
I don't think he'd do it for science.
I would do it for science.
Yeah, he'd say that after the fact. Oh, I did it for science.
I did.
Sure you did.
I did it for science. I did it 5 times for science. That does it for this episode of Ghost Files Debrief. Thank you all for sending in your questions. Make sure you check out the next episode, which is gonna be a 2-parter.
And we begin our investigation next week at Mag Farmhouse.
That's right, and the Kellogg House. Those are 2 houses that are right next to each other, very different, but we get some crazy stuff in these 2. So I'm very excited for you guys to see that. And if you want to see that right now, just go to watchertv.com. You can check it out, sign up for a free trial, and you could possibly watch a live version of this show today if you're watching this when it's uploaded.
And the lives have been a lot of fun. We've been running some polls live to see
right.
how many Shaniacs, how many Bugars we got out there. And then at the end of the episodes, we put out a vote to see if you think the place is haunted. And the results have been kind of bewildering.
For sure.
I sounded a little bit like a Muppet when I said that. Bewildering.
You sounded like Fozzie Bear a little bit there for a second. But either way, this has been fun. I guess we'll see you guys
and look,
next time.
even we disagree on these things, but we're still
Hey,
friends.
look at that.
And we
Reaching
hope you
across
all
the aisle.
are respecting each other out there as well. And we'll see you next week.
Bye-bye.
In 2 weeks.
Yeah, 2 weeks.
New episode next week.
New episode next week. And then
You got
after that, we'll be back for the YouTube
got it.
debrief.
It's funny because we were at the hotel and we spent the night there before we shot there.
Yes.
And that entire first night, it did not occur to me that the place was haunted.